If you're wondering whether to buy now or to wait, then pay close attention to the 6 trends that we saw while at the 2022 Florida RV Show in Tampa.
At the 2022 Florida RV Super Show in Tampa.
Oh, dang that guy! Welcome back. We are Sherry and John, RV newbies, finding our way and bringing you along for the journey. This was our first time going to the Florida Super Show. What did you think about it, John?
It was a circus.
I'm so glad you came out to the RV show just to see Schmozzolino and buy a new RV.
It was great, wasn't it?
It was.
We had a lot of fun. We had a good time doing all the reviews and videos. We recently got back from the RV Super Show, and boy, did we learn a lot from going to this show.
Oh boy.
We learned a lot from talking to the manufacturers, from talking to people who were at the show purchasing, and from just watching all the different transactions that were occurring. So the first trend that we noticed was that this show was huge. It had record attendance.
Over 80,000 people showed up to this RV show.
With 20,000 of those people showing up just on the first day.
Wow. That is over 20,000 more in attendance than at Hershey.
Now that really surprised me, John, because I thought Hershey was a really big show when we went
I thought
there.
it was huge.
But judging from, if you look at the number of people, if you look at all the crowds, there is so much interest in shopping for RVs right now.
There is. I was surprised by that.
And I don't see this trend changing at all.
We thought going into this that it was trending downward.
I thought so too. I thought for certain that we would see less crowds at this show than we saw at Hershey.
Yeah.
There have been different reports that, the a number of sales has been dipping a bit, that the dealerships have more inventory than they used to have. And so I figured, well, I thought for certain that, because the dealerships had more inventory, that people would be going to local dealerships and really wouldn't have that need to go to these shows.
Right.
But man, was I wrong about it. Another trend that we noticed, and we're going to put this all together for you to let you know, whether or not this is a good time to buy, what you should do. But another trend that we saw at this show was that manufacturers were actually discounting prices. We didn't see that so much at the Hershey show. We saw prices going up at the Hershey show, right?
Well, every day they went up a little bit more.
Now that, to be fair, that was just one dealership that was doing it, even though they had a lot of vehicles that they had on display. It was just one dealership. What we're seeing is the MSRP discounted between 15 to 30%. That's a big number considering that prior to the show in lots of different places, it was MSRP or sorry, somebody else will come in and buy this unit.
It was like that for a while.
But, there's another part to that as well, because even though we're seeing larger discounts, if you compare today's MSRP to that MSRP last year,
no comparison.
There's a huge difference. And we really can't blame the manufacturers for it. I know there are a lot of people who say, oh, they're just greedy, and perhaps there's a little bit of that in there.
But supply and demand.
It's not only supply and demand at this point, but it's also the same thing that's been hitting the auto manufacturers and other industries, and that is COVID and
the lack of parts.
The lack of parts and supplies, and so everybody is paying. They're paying more for lumber. They're paying more for different parts and circuitry and everything that has to go into those RVs. Yeah. And over the past year, there have been multiple increases. The most recent ones were probably the smallest, probably between 1% and 3% in the MSRP. But throughout the year, there have been increases up to like 6%, 7% within the MSRP, and you're seeing that reflected now.
Right.
In fact, a lot of current RV owners are finding that they can sell their RVs and get more than what they paid for it. And that's the same for us, right? We were offered prices for our 2021 that were more than what we actually paid for it.
What? I'll be right. Who are these people?
Stay, John, stay. No.
The money.
No.
Oh.
Stay.
Just saying.
We will get another RV, but not just yet.
Fine.
The third trend that we noticed while at this RV show, and that is that sales were up. way up.
Are you sure about that?
I am positive. Take, for example, Rev RV Group.
Right.
Rev RV reported a record number of sales at the Florida RV Super Show this year, more than they have ever sold before.
Now, honestly, that does surprise me. I looked at those prices and I looked at the discounts. I said, no one's going to buy these.
People were buying, John.
Oh my God.
In fact, the Rev RV Group had over 70 different models at the show. And, you know, Rev RV Group is Fleetwood, American Coach, Monaco. They have, I don't know if they're doing any Monaco brands right now. But it's Holiday Rambler.
Yep.
It's Lance. It's it's Renegade RV. They have lots of different brands out there. So they showcased 70 models. They had 80,000 square feet to display all those models, and they did really, really well. Let's talk about Renegade RV, for example. Renegade also had a record number of sales at the show. Renegade had a record number of sales with their luxury Super C models. Lance, they had a much smaller display than they usually have at the show. They had 8 trailers and they had 8 truck campers, but you ready for this? Even though they had a smaller number of models, they sold more. And not only did they sell more, John, but they sold more than they've sold in the past 10 years at shows. Wow.
People are just diving in. Maybe that's it.
I think what it is people are tired of waiting.
Yeah,
right?
They're tired of waiting.
You know, there's still some brands where you have to wait a long time, but there's finally some inventory out there and people want to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
You know? And you know, nothing in life is guaranteed.
That's true.
You know, you can say I'm gonna wait, you know, another year or two and see what happens, and that year or two may not come.
And this is a good time to buy. I mean, they can work out all the problems before the camping season starts.
And well, you may not get that fast. But the other thing is that the interest rates are still fairly low.
Right.
They're about to take a jump, and so I think a lot of people are just like, let me take advantage of this. So the next thing that we noticed at this show is that there were a lot of manufacturers. There were manufacturers that had not been there in 2021, and they showed up for 2022. So you had Airstream, you had Pleasureway, you had Nexus, you had some very high-end manufacturers like Newell, and you also had a lot of overland campers.
That's right.
Yeah.
Saw a lot of unusual things too while we were there.
Yeah, we did some really different types of RVs. So everybody showed up for this show. So that I think that alone is saying something.
It is, yeah.
The fifth trend that we noticed is, and I'm really happy about this one, John. I'm really, really excited about this one.
I know what you're going to say.
Do you?
Yes.
The build quality was much better this time. I mean, you haven't seen all of our review videos yet, and if you haven't, please keep watching our channel, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We still have plenty more reviews coming out. But we noticed that the build quality on these models was so much better than it's been in the past.
It was better. They're doing a better job.
At the Hershey show, we'd walk into a rig and we would immediately see things that were just, how could you put this in an RV, right? How could you
bring it to the show?
How could you bring it to the show looking like this? It's falling apart.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
I saw several that had pieces that were loose or broken.
I know. And this time though, we even gave a 10 on one of our reviews, and that was hard to do.
Yeah.
I was determined. I was gonna find something in that RV, and I couldn't find anything.
Nope.
And I'm not gonna tell you which one it is. You're gonna have to watch.
That's right.
You're gonna have to wait for that review to come out. But it was a perfect 10. We couldn't. Even John, you wanted to give it a 9.5 just to give it a 9.5.
I know. I said something's got to be wrong in here.
But we decided that we couldn't do that.
No, we had to give it a 10.
If it warranted a 10, we had to give it a 10, and so we gave it a 10. And we gave a lot of 9.5s too.
We did.
Which we normally don't give. So that is something I think that everybody should be celebrating, that finally, we're starting to see a turn in how these things are built. Now, it's not every manufacturer that was putting out with it. We saw some still that had some issues.
But overall,
it was much better.
It was impressive.
Yeah. Not perfect.
No.
But better. So our sixth trend, we kind of already mentioned a little bit, and that is the interest rate. If you've been watching the news, you know that the Fed is talking about raising interest rates. Some people can afford to pay cash for their RVs.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't afford to pay cash for their RVs. And so as the interest rates start to creep up, that's going to make purchasing an RV a lot more expensive.
Yes.
And with the way inflation is right now and the current economic policy of our president, we could probably see an increase in the interest rates.
Yep.
Which brings us to the original question, right?
Whether to buy now or not.
She asked, should you buy now or should you wait? Now, after the Hershey show, we said wait.
We did.
Things have changed. COVID's going to be with us a lot longer than we thought.
Yeah.
I think it will be in some form or another. But we're living with it now, right? It's very different.
Yeah.
We're living with it now. So I would say that if you're in the market for an RV, if it's been a dream of yours, if it's been something that you wanted for a while, you should just go for it.
Go out there and get it.
Get out there, have fun, enjoy your journey.